All right, broski, it's T, and I'm back with another video. I'm gonna do a quick, what you would say, crash course. I just made a video on Jason Blaha talking about sarcopenia. He's suffering from sarcopenia, as you can see in his legs, his arms, and everything. So he's going ballistic now, lifting like crazy, going for the pump, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, pump training, glycogen, whatever. So sarcopenia, what is that? Well, I'll explain what that sarcopenia is. So furthermore, sarcopenia is accompanied by the loss of satellite cells, particularly in type 2 fibers. Although the reductions in both fiber size and satellite cell number occur relatively slowly. They do go slowly over time, I would suppose, in a regular person. But if you are a chronic lifter, chronic lifting, you're going to see that sarcopenia come on relatively fast, because you are in a loss of satellite cells. You are losing these satellite cells by getting them to come out of quiescence and proliferate without differentiating, without splitting, dividing, and differentiating, and them going back, creating more of them for future regenerative demands. That is the problem. I'll explain why that is. It doesn't work in people that lift. I told you, people who lift chronically get this sarcopenia, loss of satellite cells. But people who lift periodically, they get an influx of them, and this is how they get them. Okay. So satellite cells, aging, use it or lose it. In this section, what they're telling you down here is way down at the bottom. This review examines how periodic activation and cycling of satellite cells through exercise can mitigate senescent acquisition and myogenic decline. Listen to what they're saying. It can mitigate. Hold on. It can mitigate senescent acquisition and myogenic decline. Myogenic decline. You understand what myogenic decline means? It means you're losing the satellite cell, what I just showed you there. Sarcopenia. You're losing it. But this, by periodic activation, you could get it to come back. Because only periodic activation can injure the satellite cells like it says here, in response to injury. See what I mean? Listen. The review examines how periodic activation and cycling of satellite cells through exercise in response to injury. Satellite cells are able to activate and re-enter the cell cycle, creating new cells to repair and create awesome muscle fibers. Do you understand what they're trying to say here? When you read the bottom, you got to go back to the top again. This review, way here at the bottom, see where it says this review examines how periodic, they didn't say chronic, they said periodic activation. Why are they saying periodic? Remember, they're talking to other scientists. They're not talking to you, laymen and stuff. They already understand what they're talking about here. You don't understand, but they do. But you don't understand what this stuff, this message, this information is for. And I'm going to tell you, that's why I bring up the PubMed version. It's shorter. The PubMed version is a lot better to talk about. So this review examines how periodic activation and cycling of satellite cells through exercise, and then go back up here, in response to injury. Satellite cells are able to activate and re-enter the cell cycle, creating new cells and repair and create awesome muscle fibers, while preserving a small population that can return to quiescence for future regenerative demands. Yeah, you understand, man? Do you people understand that shit? That shit's quiescent, bro. So when you go here, I just posted this in community section, but as you know, I have so many postings in there. They're all the way down at the bottom, okay? So you don't have to look for them. Yes, nuclei gained during training persists even when muscle cells shrink due to disuse or start to break down. This means when we bank nuclei in our youth, see what they're trying to explain to you in your youth. you in your youth do very many unfamiliar things. That's how you get them, doing unfamiliar sports. You get them in sports. Youth, to prevent frailty in old age. See? To prevent frailty in old age. And makes steroid use in competitive sports a perfect but irredeemable crime. I don't know what the hell they're talking about there, but whatever. Okay, so the more nuclei, the more protein can be produced, which leads to stronger skeletal muscle, of course, because they synthesize protein. Without them, you can't further that domain. You can't synthesize protein. That's why none of you are growing and you're all complaining. All you natural crazy people. This is important because protein synthesis is essential for muscle hypertrophy. It is. Or growth, due to increased protein synthesis rates, leading to increased protein deposition. Yeah, man, it's kind of obvious. Protein synthesis skeletal muscle cells are large and require a significant amount of protein synthesis to maintain their structure. Yeah, and function multiple nuclei allow for more efficient production of proteins needed for muscle growth, repair, and maintenance. Of course it does. So yeah, okay, nuclei allows for more efficient protein repair, blah, 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 blah. Additional multinucleated cells can support larger muscle cells, which is advantageous for certain physiological functions such as force generation in muscle tissue. Force regeneration, your natural regenerative properties and not the fake ones. Okay, so this is a section, you can pull it up. I have a thing there. Regeneration of skeletal muscle after injury. Okay, there are different kinds of injuries. Okay, there's one kind, two kinds, three kinds, but let's just talk about the minor one. Okay, the small one when it comes to muscle fibers. The three phases that identify in the process. So destruction phase, repair phase, and remodeling phase. The destruction phase, the ruptured fiber becomes necrotized only over a short distance. The propagation of the necrosis is halted by a fire door. A contraction band formed within a couple of hours, in the shelter of which the rupture is sealed by a new sarcopenia. The ruptured myofibers contract and the gap between the stumps is filled. It is filled. It's filled with these hematomas and things and neutrophils and stuff. Okay, so by a hematoma. Okay, the injury reduces a brisk inflammatory cell reaction. Repair phase now. This begins with the phagocytosis of the necrotized tissue by blood-derived monocytes. The myogenic reserve cells, satellite cells, are activated and begin to repair of the breached myofiber. Firstly, so-called committed satellite cells begin to differentiate into myoblasts. Secondly, undifferentiated stem cells begin to proliferate by 24 hours. That's very important to eat right after you work out, that 24 hours, man. And therefore contribute to the formation myoblasts at the same time, providing new satellite cells at symmetric cell division for future needs of regeneration. The myoblasts arising from the committed and stem cell satellite cells then fuse to form myotubes. They fuse to form myotubes within a couple of days. Oh, a couple of days. Within 5 to 6 days, the necrotized part of the ruptured myofiber inside the remaining odd basal lamina is replaced by the regenerating myofiber, which then begins to penetrate into connective tissue. Hold on a second. Where was I? Begins to penetrate into connective scar tissue between the stumps of the ruptured myofibers. The injury site is also revascularized by ingrowing capillaries. So you get capillaries, more capillaries, a bunch of stuff. Within the, this thing got cut off here. First anogenic capillary sprouts, then 3 days after the injury, so forth and so on. And you could read it yourself. I can't do it all, bro. The myofiber within begins to, okay, hold on. The stumps ruptured. Injury site is revascularized by the growing capillaries within the anogenic capillary spout seen 3 days after the injury. Those 3 days are very important. You got to eat a lot that time. Okay? Remodeling phase. So the remodeling phase comes after the 3 days. So it's the last couple of days. So it'd be, again, this takes a whole week. The minimum is a whole week. to 10 days or 14 days. So the remodeling phase. This is the period of maturation of the regenerating myofibers, by which includes formation of a mature contractile apparatus, the attachment of the ends of the regenerated myofibers to the intervening scar by newly formed MTJs. The reaction of the scar tissue, where was I? The scar pulls the ends closer to each other. There's maps in there to show you how it works and everything, okay? Separate by the layer of connective tissues by which the remains attached, newly formed, connective tissue, blah, 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 connections, I don't have the second part because you can only put 5 sections here, okay? You can read it yourself, you could go in there. So that's how it works, friends. I don't know what else to say there, man. I'll see you in the next video. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. That's just how it works, man. If you truly want to build real muscles, you have to go through a pain threshold. But if you don't like it, just go for the pump. Pumping is easy, okay? You can build these phony muscles, and there's nothing more worse than to wear, okay, bro? There's nothing wrong with building this fake strength, you know, this, whatever, fucking myocytic androgen receptor strength. Growing these myocytic androgen receptor strength for that force production, getting the fake strength, and building these fake muscles, sarcoplasmic muscles. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you enjoy it. The most important is that you enjoy it. Me personally, I did not enjoy it. I wanted to build myofibrillar growth, but all of you want to build phony muscles. So you go ahead and enjoy yourself, man. Get in. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with doing that. But don't claim that you are a natty when you're a fake natty, okay? That's fake nattiness, okay, bro? I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.